Well, my name is Sammy Farber, and I came from the East Side, on the Lower East Side, in the early 20s, and I liked boxing. I used to, with my brothers, had 5 brothers. We were 5 brothers, 4 are gone now, but they should rest in peace. But, and I used to love boxing. I used to go up on the roof. In the summertime, I used to sleep. And then in the wintertime, the 5 brothers used to sleep 2 one way and 3 the other way, all in one bed, believe it or not. When I was fighting, my father, when I came home from a fight, the first thing he'd do, he'd pick up the covers and see if I was hurt. But thank God, I never was hurt, believe it or not. And I had 125 fights, 50 amateur fights and 75 pro. And I was good. I had 2 of the best trainers in the world, Waddy Bimstein, Ray Arcel, and they really took care of me.
I interviewed Sammy Farber, former featherweight and lightweight, who actually fought in the first New York City Golden Glove tournament. Sammy turned pro during what's referred to as the golden age of boxing, 1927. I felt just incredibly lucky to have interviewed a fighter who turned pro in the 1920s. Sammy emphasized the fact that he was a boxer. He intended in every fight to outsmart his opponent. His career peaked during the Depression. And in one fight in Montreal, I believe it was, after being paid, he didn't have enough money for train fare back to New York City. Sammy was just one of many Jewish fighters at the time. There were a good number of Jewish champions and scores of Jewish contenders, every weight division. Sammy was very proud of being a Jewish fighter, and he wore the Jewish star in his robe into every fight.
I used to box with my brothers on the roof. I lived on the Lower East Side. I lived on the 4th floor, and there was a 5-story. In the summertime, we used to put our beds and sleep in the open because it was too warm. We had no air conditioning. And not only that, we couldn't afford it. With the 5 brothers, I mean, we barely made ends meet. My father, should rest me, was a knee pants operator. You know what a knee pants operator? Short pants. And he made very little. So I used to sell pretzels with my brother out in Coney Island. I sold newspapers. I used to have my brother, my oldest brother, he was a bookmaker. And he was in touch with the fellow that was the manager of the Daily Forwards. And he used to, the guy, the manager, used to give me 50, I had to take 50 papers. I was going to school yet. And I used to make a run all the way from the Lower East Side, that East Broadway, down Essex Street, into Orchard Street. The time I hit Orchard Street, I sold my 50 papers, and I made 50 cents. I was a millionaire, believe it or not. You know, in those days, 50 cents went a long, long way. So that's about part of it, you know, that I started, you know, on Orchard Street. But I was a clever boxer. I mean, you can tell, the 125 fights, I have no marks. The only thing, a little here, but that was taken care. But that was pretty good. I mean, I was another Benny Leonard, believe it or not. And then I had Ray Arcel, one of the top trainers in the world, and he taught me how to do things. And that's how I learned. I mean.
So you became a pro fighter for economic reasons, to make money, or did you truly love the sport? Did you get into it and love it?
I loved everything. I mean, I loved it. Then there was money. I think I made the highest I made was $800, $900, about $800 for one fight. I don't remember where it was. I don't recall offhand now. But I fought in Canada and Toronto. And I, most was the St. Nick's. One was on 24th Street, the Pioneer. Try to memorize all these things that I went through.
Yeah.
When I had Ray Arcel and Whitey Bimsty as my trainers. And they didn't fool around. You had to be good. Otherwise, they'd chase you out. I always worked. That's one thing. I was never lazy. Now, when I trained, I used to get up 3 in the morning, and I lived on Willard Street on the Lower East Side.
What address?
And I used to, 55. See, I remember. And I used to get up 3 in the morning, and I used to run the Williamsburg Bridge back and forth, believe it or not. 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning. And that was like my career, you know. But I loved boxing, you know. I used to play with my brothers and so forth, you know. And my brother, an oldest brother, the rest of it, he was the first bookmaker on the Lower East Side. You know, he go to the fights. A lot of newsboys would be there, and he'd make bets there. He, you know, lay the odds or take the odds, whatever it was. He was very, very good. Everybody liked him. It was very odd, but the mobsters, you know, they used to win and they wouldn't pay him. And it was a little difficult for a while. And fighting, I went a few times in Canada, and they didn't pay much, but I went there, you know, for experience. But I'm very happy that and fortunate that I never got hurt. The only time I got stopped is I collided with a fighter. I had my head cut, and they stopped the fight. Otherwise, I never got knocked down even. And 125 fights. Okay.
Were there a lot of fighting going on, boxing clubs on Lower East
Of course,
Side? What was it
you know,
like in those days?
Oh, they had the Pioneer, they had St. Nick's, they had Madison Square Garden, in Queens open air. What else? I mean, but you know, I lived my life. I mean, I can write a story. It's outstanding, which I know that Mike likes it and his partner here, and they should be well and come again and interview me.
Were there many fighters in the Lower East Side like yourself?
Yes, there was. Yes, one block there was I would say a half a dozen, but I beat them all.
So there were fighters on every block and
Most of them. That time they had a lot of fighters.
What fighters did you look up to?
Well, Benny Leonard, Jack Dempsey, Primo Canero. I mean, these were the outstanding fighters, and that was in the early 20s.
You spoke about Benny Leonard to me several times. Was Benny Leonard your idol? Was he a role model for you?
Benny Leonard was an outstanding fighter, and he was really a clever fighter. He would stand with his 2 feet on the floor, and you try to hit him, and he would dodge it, or put his hand up, or move to the left or to the right. He was really an excellent boxer, and I learned a lot from him. He showed me a couple of things while I was, you know, boxing. And may his soul rest in peace. He was very, very good. He was an outstanding fighter. The fellows on the Lower East Side from Willard Street,
Honest living.
they used to love me. And they went and they bought me a bathrobe with a star and my name on it. I gave it to my son, and he has it. It's an outstanding bathrobe, and I'm very proud that I gave it to him. And what else you want to know?
Sammy, who were some of the great Jewish boxers of the era that...
I just mentioned Benny Leonard, Joe Glick, Sammy Dorfman, Soteris, Ruby Goldstein. Did I mention that? Ruby Goldstein.
As a boxer, what skills did you have to learn to make you a competent fighter when you started training? What did you have to know?
Eat well, sleep well, stay away from too much sex. That's the truth. I mean, what else I can tell you? Don't get in trouble. Don't be a wise guy. Don't be a gunner, a crook. There's a lot of things that it goes through your mind. And but I trained very hardly. I told you I get up 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, run the Williamsburg Bridge back and forth, and that was my training. And I used to love to do it. And I'm 90 years old now.
Get on here.
I'm 90 years old now, and I don't feel my age. I can go 10 rounds with any girl right now. You like that?
Wait.
Anyway, I had good years. I mean, I can't complain.
If there was anything you could say.
My wife, I have married 60 years. I have 2 children, a boy and a girl. My daughter has 3 daughters, and they're all married, and they're in good shape. I mean, thank God. I mean, and my son has 2 children, a boy and a girl. The girl is going to be 20. My grandson is going to be 15. That's my son's boy and girl. She's going to be a lawyer. She's 20 years old. She's up in Buffalo College, She's very, very bright,
In her
very
last
nice.
year, she's going for law.
Yeah,
Very
for
nice,
law.
very good.
Yeah, I help her out whatever I can. My grandson is a redhead,
Girls are wonderful.
and he's, what is he,
Who?
hockey player.
Wow.
He's very good, and he's a tall kid. He's not
Oh,
not a
you're
short.
lucky.
What if you had a son, Sammy, who wanted to be a fighter? Would you encourage him or discourage him?
It would be, I really wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. I'll tell you the truth. I don't want to commit and say something which I'm not. Meanwhile, I have a son, and he's great. He was in the Wall Street section. He quit that. Now he's a salesman, and he travels all over the country.
Getting back to the 1920s, when you fought from 27 to what, 31, 32?
About 32.
Okay.
Yeah.
In that time, there's always people who say that boxing, there were mobsters in boxing, people would
There
hold pro
was,
fights.
yeah.
Was that true?
Yes, that is true, but I never did. Never did.
Were you ever approached to throw a fight?
I think once, I'm not sure. But I won fights and they took it away from me. You know what I mean? I beat the guy and like it's his territory. In Bronzeville, you have to kill him before you win, So it was difficult times, There was good people and bad people. But I'm married now 60 years. I have a wonderful wife and my children. I can't complain.
How come some fighters wind up damaged and you seem
Because
okay?
you know why? They took a lot of punishment. First of all, they dissipated. They didn't eat well. They didn't sleep right. They went out with women. They were drinking. Stayed out late. I mean, what can I tell you? It's all like it's a mishmash.
He's in the bar business.
I got to tell you this.
What?
I had a bar for 32 years on the Lower East Side. That's the best part of my life. And all the gangsters used to hang out in my place. This is honest true. Nobody can bother me there. And Meyer Lansky, one of the toughest men in the gangsters in the world, Jewish gangster, and he used to come to my place.
Why were there so many Jewish fighters in that era then? There are no Jewish fighters today.
Because there was a little money to have. I mean, they needed a little money. Those years, if you got $50 for a fight, you're a millionaire. Money was very scarce.
So in other
If I
words,
knew you, I could have borrowed some money.
so in other words, A lot of young kids like yourself.
Yeah, well, it was in it.
Because it was easy just to go and get into boxing. There was a lot of boxing activity.
Right. There was a lot of clubs, like the Richard Grove. I must have fought a number of times. What do they call it? St. Nick's, Pioneer, Madison Square Garden. I still remember. You tell me I'm punch drunk, I'll punch you right in the nose. How's that, huh?
Now, I saw your record. You used to fight 4 or 5 times a week, a
5
month,
times.
sometimes. 5 times a
In
month.
1 week. I used to fight 1 week, 5 times. 2 one night, rest 1 night, fight a single, and the end of the week, 2 more.
Why did you fight so often?
Those years, what do I know? I was a greenhorn, I didn't know better.
Why did you quit fighting?
I found that they hit back. No, I quit because there was no money. I was fighting like for nothing.
You started fighting.
And the best part, my father should rest in peace, when I came home from a fight, he would pick up the covers and see if I was damaged, if I was cut up. And he would say, "You ought to see." I used to tell him, "You ought to see the other guy."
He would say to him, I know you're a good fighter, but I know the other one has hands too.
Yeah. He was about 87 when he passed away.
How would you describe your fighting style? You were a boxer,
I was a
puncher?
boxer, strictly a boxer. I used my left and jab, and I had Whitey Bimstein and Ray Arcel. They taught me.
What's the most important thing about boxing in terms of balance, footwork?
The most important is to defend yourself. Always keep your hands in a good position, and bob and weave. So they used to put a lot of Vaseline on you, and then the glove, is leather, so it slides right off. You got to be all these things that come through your mind. You got to be professional.
Do you watch fights today? Do you look at the fighters today?
No, well, they call me in Madison Square Garden, the Golden Gloves. I come back and take my picture and so forth. I fought in Madison Square Garden and the Golden Gloves. Yeah, I won most of them, but no, I lost. I fought a guy that came from the Hudson Guild. That's on the west side. Mm-hmm. His father was the referee. His two brothers were the judges. How could I win? And I swear I beat the guy, and they gave it to the other guy. Of course, they were what do you call it? The referee, the judges. I couldn't win.
Do you have any regrets about your career, Sammy?
Never. I enjoyed it. I get to this very day they look at me as and they greet me, and I had to have a story and a book about me. I showed you that, didn't I? The book.
So he knows he has the book.
Huh? Yeah, no. I say I'm in a book and all that.
Sammy, would you like to describe to me what it meant? You fought in Madison Square Garden as a pro, correct? Did you ever fight as a pro?
Yeah, I'm not sure I did.
You did, yeah. What did it mean for a fighter to fight in Madison Square Garden?
To fight in Madison Square, you had to be good. Otherwise they don't give you a fight. Fugazi was Richard, what's his name? Tex Rickett was, those guys were outstanding. And I knew them all. They were all around. I was up the gym and on the 8th Avenue and 54th Street there was Stillman's gym, and I used to train there.
You, Sammy, when you had the bar,
yeah,
you had the bar for how many years?
32 years.
And the mobsters used to come in there?
You name it.
Really? Did you?
Meyer Lansky.
You saw Meyer Lansky?
Father Spick. Red Levine. These are known gangsters,
Did you speak to them?
Of course.
They came in my bar. Here's what they used to do.
Yeah.
Not Meyer Lansky, but the others. used to have girlfriends. They used to come 11 o'clock in the evening, the girls come down, they buy a drink and walk out with the girls.
But with the girl they came with?
No, they met them. The girl met them in
met
the
them at the
bar.
bar, I see.
They come there.
I see.
Bugsy Siegel.
Bugsy Siegel.
You name any known gangster, I knew them. They used to come to my place and pick up the girls. That's what happened.
Let me ask you once told me Benny Leonard taught you a few things. What did Benny Leonard teach you?
Ooh, how to, to block and all that. One lesson, that's all he gave me.
And it lasted you a long time.
And well, still to this very day, I still box with my wife.
Who was the toughest fighter you fought? Next toughest.
I don't know. They're all tough.
Pete Sandoval?
Pete Sandoval, 4 times I fought him. And he won 4 times. You can tell a good boxer with 125, not a scratch. All right? The only scratch I got is from her. When I didn't bring home pay. To this very day. God.
Well,
Mine will go down in history, one of the best, I hope.
I'm sure.
And I got nice friends that come take my picture. And I belong to Ring 8, and we meet once a month at Tony Mazzarella's Waterfront Crab House restaurant. And he's a very nice man. He gives us a free meal, believe it or not. And we meet there, and we have quite a number of people coming there. Maybe sometimes 200-300 people that come to this meeting. But once a month we meet there. And so far so good. What else can I say? With 125 fights, and I haven't got one mark. And I was a very, very clever boxer. And I was taught by Ray Arcel and Waddy Binstein. They're the best trainers in the world at that time, in the 20s. And I'm very happy to have them. But now I know they're not around, and may their soul rest in peace. And then I'll say a prayer they should be well and in heaven and so forth.